I didn't really choose this path necessarily. It sort of happened organically in a way, but I definitely was impacted in my formative years by books like The Creature from Jekyll Island, something that I
Mhm.
encountered in my younger years, which basically goes through the inception of the Federal Reserve and does a real deep dive on the mechanics of central banking. And, as I've written about in one of my pieces, Masters and Slaves of Money, I do consider it to be essentially a watered down version of slavery. It's this institution that engages in systemic and perpetual theft. So it's constantly stealing the time of productive market actors through fiat currency inflation. And it also, the existence of the central bank creates a centralized government, or let's say feeds a centralized government that grows to proportions it otherwise could not reach.
Mm.
A government could not become as big as it does on explicit taxation alone, because explicit taxation is visible, right? When you get a bill for, I think the numbers I heard on this, these are a little bit staggering. These are America-centric numbers, but the war on terror, that we waged from 2001 through today, still waging it. I think the number came to like $80,000 per U.S. household. So if you received a bill from the IRS that said, here's, please pay $80,000 because we're blowing people up on the other side of the world, you could just imagine there'd be a lot more resistance to that
Mm-hmm.
versus just printing the money to pay for the bill. And then when the prices ultimately go up, right, when the inflation's ultimately inflicted on people, government, central bankers, bureaucrats have all of this plausible deniability to blame anyone else other than themselves for price increases, which indeed they're doing right now, right? That we call this, there's significant price inflation in the US on fuel, on food, on housing. And if you read in the mainstream media, they actually call it the Putin inflation. They blame the actions of the Federal Reserve on Vladimir Putin. And, the fact that there is this generalized ignorance on money and economics allows them to get away with it, right? People
Mm-hmm.
just sort of ingest this programming and regurgitate what they see on mainstream media. And it's just like when you have a perspective on what's actually happening, is really disturbing. It's really disturbing to see, one, a lie be effectively propagated through the minds of men and women to the point where they're just, again, regurgitating what they see on mainstream media. But two, they are the victims in this scheme. So
Mm-hmm.
they're the ones being robbed. They're the ones being milked, looted, whatever term you want to use. And so it's really pernicious, right? You have the victims themselves misattributing the cause of their pain, right? They're feeling the pain, they're feeling the cost of living go up while their wages are flat, and they, some people think it's Vladimir Putin's fault.
And
And
I
it has
think,
nothing to do with the $6 trillion we printed in the past 2 years. So, um, I mean, it's a big question you ask, like the why do I do what I do? But there's a lot of other directions I could take it. But I guess I would just say
Mhm.
that I guess I feel that the course of my life has taken me into a position to see the monetary and economic order for what it is.
Mhm.
And I just intend to communicate that as simply, succinctly, and vividly as possible for people so that they can understand the game that is actually being played. Because if you don't know the game that's being played, you are the game being played when it comes to money.
Mhm.
So,